Note to self, learn how to make thumbnails. Hey you guys, what is up? It is Michaela back again. Today I am here to bring you my December wrap up. I know it's a little late. I just started my channel. Please leave me alone. It's what I have for you, so don't hurt me. I read 10 books in December. Huh. I am not a very fast reader at all. I don't usually read this much. Like in the past 6 months, I might have read like 15 books collectively, but that's because I was a very busy person with school and everything during those months. But this month, I actually got to read again for once. Oh, it was beautiful. And I read 10 books, so obviously I was reading. So let's just jump right into it. I'm gonna go in chronological order. So the first book I read in December is I Am Malala by Malala Yousafzai and Christina Lamb. I actually listened to this on audiobook, but it's basically Malala Yousafzai's autobiography. If you don't know who Malala Yousafzai is, she's amazing. Please check her out. She is a Pakistani girl who has been standing up for women's education in the Middle East, but pretty much everywhere, and advocating for the rights of women and girls to get education in all parts of the world. She's just, oh, everything to me. The youngest person to ever win a Nobel Peace Prize. She's just, like, if I could be one person in this world, her. And this is kind of about her life before she was shot by the Taliban for standing up for women's education, and after, and how she got to be such a brave, strong woman, and how her father really helped her and influenced her life, and is just, it's so good. She's so good. I ended up giving this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Highly recommend if you are just wanting to hear about an awesome person. She's awesome. Do it. I know I said I'm gonna go chronologically, but I'm gonna go kind of out of order because this is series. So the next thing I finished is book 1 in the Vampire Academy series, but I actually did end up finishing the first 4 books in the Vampire Academy series. Vampire Academy, Frostbite, Shadow Kiss, and Blood Promise by Rochelle Mead. The first book is about a girl named Rose Hathaway and her best friend Lissa Dragomir, and basically their adventures, kind of, I guess. Like, Lissa is a race of vampire and Rose is kind of her protector, and she has to protect her from another evil race of vampires. It sounds really stupid, I know, but it's so good. Like, please read it. Just read the first book. Listen to it on audiobook. Rose is the funniest character in the world. I love her so much. I did marathon the first 4. I listened to all 4 of them on audiobook, so I had a lot of time to listen to these. They're a lot of fun. They're not necessarily like literature, but do you really need literature to enjoy yourself? No, you need a good book. You need a funny character, and this, that's what she is. Do it. I had actually already read the first 3 books a couple years ago, and I just never continued on with the series, but I had all 6 of the books, so I reread the first 3 so I could get to the next ones in the series, but it was like I was reading them for the first time because I had forgotten everything, and I'm so glad that I got back into this world because it's so good. I am planning on finishing the series hopefully in January, but I don't know. I don't usually marathon series, so we'll see how this goes. The ratings kind of varied a little bit on this series, but Vampire Academy I gave 4 stars, enjoyed it. The second book, Frostbite, I gave 3 stars, mostly enjoyed it, but there were a few points where I was like, could you please stop? You're being annoying. I don't like when authors make things really obvious to the reader, but it takes the characters forever to figure it out. And that's kind of what happened, and it was making me upset, so I docked it a star. I really enjoyed it, but like, that was irking me. And then the third book, Shadow Kiss, I gave 4 stars. Again, really enjoyed it. Good, good stuff. And the fourth book, Blood Promise, I gave 4.5 out of 5 stars. Ooh, this was good. And I have a feeling it's gonna get better, and I'm so excited. Please read this series. I want someone to talk to about this because this is so good. So the next book I finished in December is Frontlines by Michael Grant. This book was so good. It's an alternate history novel about World War II if women could also be drafted. Yes. First of all, I love history. I am a huge history nerd. And I don't usually read historical fiction because I get scared of it, because often it's like dense. I like historical fiction. I do. When I read it, I love it, but I never pick it up. But this book, it is a huge book. Like, well, not huge, but it's a big book. And I flew through this so fast. I went from 0 to 60 because I bought this at the beginning of December. I hadn't been reading anything for months, and I picked this up and I would not stop. You follow multiple different perspectives, multiple different characters. There's 3. One of them is a white middle-class farmer girl, and she lives in Northern California. And after her sister gets killed in an attack by the Japanese, she decides to enlist. And then there is Frangie, who is a black girl living in somewhere in the Midwest. And she wants to be a doctor, like that's her dream, but she can't because she's a black woman living in 1940 something America. You get to see all of the racial discrimination and all of the problems she has to face, both misogynistic problems and racial problems, and it's so interesting seeing such a prominent time in history from a discriminated against perspective and seeing her get through it. Like, she did not want to enlist at all, but her family needs the money desperately, so she decides to enlist because that's the only way they can get any money. And it's just, she's fantastic. I love her. And then there is Rainey, who is a Jewish girl that lives in New York City, and her experience with enlisting and then going into Army intelligence and being discriminated against for being a Jew and being a woman, and like, oh, this book is fantastic. There are some scenes that will definitely make you uncomfortable, but it's because they're historically accurate and because that's something that actually happened in our country. It does not shy away from that, and it will make you confront that. And it is such an eye-opening experience and such a wonderful book. Like, just, ooh. The next book I finished, I had been waiting on for a hot minute, let me tell you. It is The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. I have been waiting for this book to come out ever since Everything came out, and I bought it and read it in like one day and loved it. And this book came out end of November, and I had to go to the bookstore immediately and pick it up because I was so excited for it. But like I said, I hadn't been doing any reading. This book is about 2 teenagers, Natasha and Daniel, and their love story, basically. Natasha is a Jamaican immigrant. She is an undocumented immigrant, her and her family, and something has happened recently to where they are being deported. And it follows her on her last day in the city that she loves, New York, and the only home that she really remembers. And then Daniel is a first-generation Korean American, and it follows him throughout the same day and his struggles with reconciling what he wants for his life and what his parents and his family wants for his life, and going on college interviews and kind of figuring himself out and how they meet and interact. It's so good. Like, if you don't like contemporary books, please pick up something by Nicola Yoon, because her writing style is so beautiful and like lyrical almost, and it's gorgeous. I highly recommend. 5 out of 5 stars for me. I didn't say the rating for the last one. 4.5 out of 5 on this one, because there were some parts that I was like a little irritated with. But these books both. Ooh. The next book I read in the month of December is Daughter of Deep Silence by Carrie Ryan. I picked up this book thinking I was going to love it. Basically, this book is about a young girl who lives through a tragedy. The cruise ship that she was on with a bunch of people that she knew sinks, and she is one of 3 people to survive. And everybody thinks that the sinking of the ship was a natural disaster because of the other two people that survived have been telling it like it's a natural disaster, but 'twas not. 'Twas a terrorist attack. And she knows that, and they know that, and they know that she knows that. She manages to escape with her best friend, and they are lost at sea for 7 days. And during those 7 days, they become very, very close. None of this is spoilers, by the way. Like, this is all on the back of the book. But her friend dies just as they're being rescued by her friend's father. So she and the father decide that she is going to take her friend's place, basically, and become her. Her whole purpose in life, basically, is to expose the truth and kind of get revenge on the other two people that survived the tragedy. I thought I was going to love this book, like I said. I genuinely thought, like, this was going to be everything to me. And also, that cover, I had never heard of this before, and I had never seen any reviews of it, so I was very excited to give it a try. I did not like it. I gave this 2 out of 5 stars. The writing was okay, it was nothing special, and it was really, like, just main character. I didn't like her. She would say the same things over and over again, and she would have the same dilemmas over and over again. I didn't like the ending, and I didn't like a lot of the characters. Like, I only liked one character in this entire book. I only really liked one character. And then things happened to him, and I was upset, so I'm gonna put this down now so I don't keep ranting. The next book I finished is All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. This book, I thought it was a joke. No, this isn't a joke. This is no game. Basically, this book is about a 16-year-old blind French girl and how she gets entangled with the French resistance and kind of how that unfolds. And it's also about a 18-year-old Nazi soldier as he figures out what the Nazi regime is really about and how much he does not like it. This book is so near and dear to my heart. Everybody was talking about this a couple years ago, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll get to it eventually, like, it's not that big of a deal. No, I can't express enough how much I love this. It is so good. 5 out of 5. Love it. Delicious. Definitely recommend. Please read it. Everybody needs to read this book. Even if you don't like historical fiction and you don't like World War II or history or anything like that, you will enjoy this because the writing is so fantastic and the characters are so compelling and you just care so much about everybody and what happens to all of them. And I basically listened to it in one sitting. I gave this a 5 out of 5. Would definitely recommend. The next book I have a lot of feelings about. So the next book I finished in the month of December is Attachments by Rainbow Rowell. This book is about a man in late 1999, and his job is basically to go through this company's web usage and kind of monitor the employees and make sure that they're not being bad or gross or anything like that. And he starts reading these email exchanges between these two best friends and falls in love with one of them through their emails. I thought this book was going to be everything to me because Rainbow Rowell is everything to me. I love all of her things. This was the only book that she has published that I didn't own yet. I have Carry On. That's the only book of hers that I haven't read yet. This was making me really mad. Obviously, I had a lot of feelings about it. The first 3/4 of the book, I could not stand the main character. I hated him so much. I couldn't deal with him. He was such a complacent person and like was so willing to just roll over and let life have its way on him and like let everyone else make his decisions and pining over a woman that he broke up with 10 years before this. I understand that some people like are fragile and some people have like serious relationship problems because of past relationships, like they don't want to get into that. That makes sense. That's okay. 10 years after a relationship that lasts maybe 3 years or something like that when you were in high school, that's a little much. The two female characters in their exchanges, loved them. I loved them, but I hated that he was invading their privacy and acting like it wasn't his fault. Towards the end, I liked it because it was like he was a completely different character. His character development in the later like fourth was fantastic because he was a completely different person, and that's why I liked him, because he was not the same person as he was at the beginning. And their romance, I didn't like very much. I felt like it was kind of really, really rushed, which makes a certain sort of sense, but at the same time, like, there was no explanation. They just started making out. And I was like, okay, but why? Rainbow Rowell, I love her books, I love her writing, but this character ruined it for me. That doesn't usually happen because I can usually get past not liking a character, but I hated him so much. He just ruined it. And I'm gonna stop. That is all I read in the month of December. 10 things, which is very unlike my reading habits as of late, so let's pray it happens in January and the rest of 2017 because I really, really would love that. Let me know down below what you guys read in December. What was your favorite book? What was your least favorite book? Because obviously I had a few that I felt very strongly about. That's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye!